ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, we are continuing our reading of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. We are reading the Ādi Khaṇḍa, chapter 10. We have read till verse number 119. So, let us begin from verse number 120. प्रभु पार्श्वे लक्ष्मीरा हैला अवस्थान शचिगृह हैला परम ज्योतिराधाम. With Srimati Lakshmi Priya by his side, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the house of Shachi Mata appeared like Vaikuntha. Shachi Griha Haila Parama Jyotirdham became Parama Jyotirdham. It became most effulgent abode like Vaikuntha. Imagine in that house, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is staying with his wife, Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi. They are like Lakshmi Narayan. So Shachimata's house became effulgent like Vaikuntha. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is writing. Last time we discussed about the beautiful marriage ceremony of Lakshmi Priya Devi and Shri Vishwambhar Nimai. Niravadhi dekhe shachi ki ghare bahire parama adbhuta jyoti lakhite na pare. Such a wonderful effulgence constantly emanated from the house of Mother Sachi that Mother Sachi could not even see properly. Everything was so effulgent, so bright. She could not even see properly. Niravadhi dekhe shachi ki ghare bahire parama adbhuta jyoti lakhite na pare. She could not see properly. Everything was so effulgent, like Vaikuntha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Natad bhasyate suryo, na shashanko, na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramam mama." Krishna's abode is self-effulgent. There is no need of sun, moon, fire, electricity. Kakhana putrera pashe dekhe agnishikhā ulatiya chahite na paye aar dekha. Sometimes Shachi Mata saw flames of fire at the side of her son. But when she looked again, they were gone. So she thought the effulgence is coming from some fire. She could see something, but then it would go away. Kamala pushpera gandha kshane kshane paye parama vismita ai chintena sadai. She sometimes felt that there is fragrance of beautiful flowers. Shachi Mata. Kamala pushpera gandha kshane kshane paye. Moment by moment, a divine fragrance was coming when Lakshmi Priya Devi and Nimai Pandit, they were living as husband and wife. Parama Vismita Ai Chintena Sadai. Very astonishing. She was completely, utterly astonished. Shachi Mata. Ai Chinte Bhujilaya Karana Ihar Ekanya Adhishtana Ache Kamalar. Ai Chinte. Ai means Shachi Mata. Chinte, she thought. What did Shachi Mata think? Bhujilaya Karana Ihar Ek Kanya Adhishtan Ache Kamalar. I think that this Kanya, Lakshmi Priya, is Kamala. Who is Kamala? Lakshmi Devi. She's an incarnation of Lakshmi Devi. Shachi Mata thought. Because since she has come, there's an effulgence in the house, there's a divine fragrance in the house. I think this girl is Goddess Lakshmi Devi. Ataiva Jyoti Dekhi Padma Gandha Pai Purva Praye Daridrata Dukhaye Benai. Shachi Mata is thinking, that is why I see this effulgence and fragrance of lotus flowers. Because she is Kamala, she is Lakshmi Devi. And also, now we don't face any poverty like before. Previously, being a very average Brahman family, not very opulent, there was hardly any money in the house. Purva Praya Daridrata Dukha Epenai. Now there is no Daridrata, there is no poverty in the house. Of course, we should not understand, we should not think that Nimai and Shachi were poverty stricken. Shachinandan Gaurahari, he is the source of all the Narayan Murtis. And he is the source of all the Lakshmi Murtis. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindam Ādi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He is Gaura Govinda. Srila Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Lord Govinda, non-different from Lord Govinda. So millions and millions of Lakshmis are serving him. So we should not think that he had Daridrata, but when he's doing Naravat Leela, especially when he's coming in a Channa avatar, hidden avatar, as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, it appears that he's just a Brahman, simple Brahman, doesn't have too much money. So Mahaprabhu did not demonstrate his opulence of wealth. He chose not to. Ei Lakshmi Vadhu Grihe Praveshile Kotha. No, sorry. Ei Lakshmi Vadhu Grihe Praveshile Kotha Haite Na Jani A Siya Sab Mile. Otherwise, where has everything come from? Since his daughter-in-law Lakshmi Devi has entered my house. So many things are coming. There is rice, there is ghee, there is milk. There is no shortage of gold coins. Everything is nice, fragrant, clean. How is this happening? She has to be Lakshmi. Shachi Mata is thinking. My daughter-in-law Lakshmi Priya Devi must be incarnation of Lakshmi Devi. Ei Rupa Nana Mata Katha Aikaya Vyakta Haya O Prabhu Vyakta Nahi Hai. In this way, Mother Sachi had various thoughts about her daughter-in-law, that she is Lakshmi. She is very special. But she did not. In this way, Mother Shachi had various thoughts as the Lord almost, but not quite manifest himself. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not manifesting himself as Bhagavan. But Shachi Mata is getting some hint that I think my son is also Narayan. Because Lakshmi Devi can only marry Narayan. Ishwarera Ichha Bhuji Bara Shaktikar Ki Rupe Karena Kon Kalera Vihar. Who can understand the supreme will of Krishna or Gauranga Mahaprabhu? How and when does he perform his pastimes? We cannot know. See, by Krishna's potency, even Mother Shachi did not come to know that her son is Bhagwan and daughter-in-law is Lakshmi Devi. Can you imagine? The son is Bhagwan and the mother doesn't come to know. Just think, just see how sweet the Leela is. Even today in the morning we were reading how Krishna, Balram knew that the 6 sons of Devaki were demons in their previous life. But Devaki did not know. She thought innocent children. They have been killed by Kansa. So Krishna's Leela, who can understand Krishna's pastime? We cannot understand. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjun, many births you have taken, many births I have taken. You don't remember them, but I remember them. That is the difference between Krishna and us. ईश्वर से आपनारे ना जाना ये यबे Lakshmi o janite shakti na dhare na tabe. Srila Vrindavan Thakur is saying here, Ishware se apanare na jana ye yabe. Until Krishna himself allows one to know him, Lakshmi o janite shakti na dhare na tabe. Even Lakshmi cannot understand him. Unless Krishna chooses to reveal himself, no one can understand Krishna. Not even Lakshmi Devi. Srila Vrindavan Thakur is writing. Ei sab shastre vede purane vakhane jare tana kripahaya sei jane tane. The Vedas, Puranas and other scriptures confirm that only one who is favored by Krishna can understand Krishna. Ei sab shastre vede purane vakhane jare taya kripahaya sei jane tare. Only one who has been blessed by Krishna can understand Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, my dear friend, it's a descending process. It's not an ascending process. We cannot grab and catch Krishna. But if Krishna is pleased, he will reveal himself to us. Last verse of this chapter. Shri Krishna Caitanya Nityananda Chandajan Vrindavana Dāsa Tachu Padayugegan. Accepting Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Padayuge Gan. Chapter 11 of the Ādi Khaṇḍa, entitled Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's meeting with Shri Ishwar Puri. Text number 1. Jaya Jaya Maha Maheshwar Gaura Chandra Balya Leela Shri Vidya Vilasera Kendra. So in the previous chapter, chapter 10, we saw the marriage ceremony between Nimai and Lakshmi Priya Devi. They got married in such a beautiful way. After Lakshmi Priya Devi comes as the bride and starts living in the house of Shachi Mata, everything becomes very beautiful, very opulent. There's always divine fragrance of lotus flowers in the house. There is no problem of any wealth or any necessities. Everything is there because Lakshmi Priya Devi is an incarnation of Lakshmi Devi and she is the goddess of fortune. So everything is there. She has come to serve Shri Gaura Narayan, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is not different from Lord Narayan. And Sachimata is thinking, but she doesn't say anything because she's not understanding, because Krishna doesn't reveal. The Yogamaya Shakti, the Leela Shakti hides it from the devotees. Because the devotees come to know, then what is the meaning to the Leela? Then Sachimata will not have that motherly affection. She will go in Dasya Bhav. So no, Krishna doesn't reveal to the devotees so that they can maintain their loving relationship eternally. So now next chapter, Jaya Jaya Maha Maheshwara Gaura Chandra. All glories to Shri Gaura Chandra, who is Maha Maheshwar. He is the Ishwar of all the other Ishwars. Balya Leela hai Shri Vidya Vilasera Kendra. In his Balya Leela, in his childhood pastimes, he did Vidya Vilas. Vidya Vilas. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, whose divine appearance day is tomorrow. Tomorrow, February 21st, the year 2022, is the divine Avirbhav Tithi, appearance day, Vyas Puja of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the beloved, revered, spiritual master of our founder Acharya, Om Vishnupad Paramhams Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtottar Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. He writes in the purport, Jai Jai Maha Maheshwara Gaura Chandra Balya Leelaya Shri Vidya Vilasera Kendra. In the purport, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, the phrase Vidya Vilasera Kendra is explained as follows. The lack of proper philosophy or knowledge is called avidya. Lack of knowledge is called avidya. Although some people claim that to achieve knowledge of an incomplete object is vidya, real knowledge, real vidya is found only in knowledge of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, who is Om Purnam Adap Purnam. He's Purnam, he's complete. So knowledge of Krishna is complete. Although knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma aspects of the absolute truth is part of spiritual knowledge, in a comparative study of spiritual knowledge, they are both limited and incomplete. The age for primary education of an ordinary human being is known as Balya or childhood. The enactment of educational pastimes that we find in the pastimes of Sri Gaura Sundar at that age are like the childhood activities of the spiritual world. So even in the spiritual world, there is childhood activity. Sometimes devotees have this misunderstanding that in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is always Nava Yavan. Correct? Krishna is always 15, 16 years old with Radharani. But that is part of the truth. It is not that in the spiritual world there is no Bal Gopal. No. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Golok Vrindavan is not just one static place in the spiritual world. There are many Golok Vrindavan planets. Some planets Damodar Lila is going on. Krishna is in the form of Damodar. Some planets he is even smaller, younger. In some planets he is Pauganda Lila. So in different planets, Krishna is of different ages. But we, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Rupa Goswami, because we are aspiring for Manjari Bhav, our Golok Vrindavan, there are many Golok Vrindavan planets, and Krishna is reciprocated with many devotees in different forms, different ages, in Vrindavan only. Our Leela, where we, the Ashtakali Leela that we follow, that has been given to us by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Krishna Bhavanamrita and in Govinda Leelamrita. The Ashtakali Leela that we follow, that we aspire for to enter in Golok Vrindavan, there Krishna is Kishore Kishori. Radharani and Krishna are Kishore Kishori. They are Radha Sham Sundar, eternally. Krishna is around 16 years old, Radharani is around 15 years old, eternally. That is our destination. But then there are devotees who are aspiring for Vatsalya Prem, right? There are so many Pushti Margi devotees, followers of Srimad Vallabhacharya. They worship Krishna as their Ishtadeva, as Bal Gopal, Laddu Gopal. So do you think they will not go to spiritual world? They will go to spiritual world. But in their spiritual, in their Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is a Bal Gopal. And he's doing Natkat Balya Leelas. He's stealing butter. All those Leelas are taking place. Of course, in the spiritual world, there is no Dushtadaman Leela. There is no Nalakuver and Manigrief to be delivered in Golok Vrindavan. There is no Indra attacking, and there is no Govardhan Dharan Leela. There is no Putana, Bakasur, Aghasur. That Dushtadaman Leela doesn't take place in the spiritual world ever. Krishna never takes birth in the spiritual world ever. You see, in the spiritual world, there is no past, present, and future. There is only present. So it's not that in Golok Vrindavan, devotees will have memory of Krishna taking birth. There is a conception that Krishna is the son of Nanda and Yashoda. But Krishna never took birth in Golok Vrindavan. He is eternally 16 years old. The Golok Vrindavan that we aspire for. So like that. These things have to be understood. এই মতে গুপ্ত ভাবে আছে দ্বিজরাজ অধ্যয়ন বিনা আর নাহি কোন কাজ. Very beautiful. এই মতে, in this way, Gupta Bhave Ache Dvijaraj, our Dvijaraj, the king of all Brahmanas, Nimai Pandit, Gupta Bhave, confidentially lived in Navadvip. And Adhyayana Vina Ara Nahi Kona Kaj. He had no other business, no other engagement other than Adhyayan. Adhyayan means study. This is Vidya Vilas Leela of Nimai Pandit. We saw Nimai Pandit, Bhavuk Nimai, Shri Krishna Caitanya, Sannyasi. There are 4 aspects of Mahaprabhu. Jiniya Kandarpa Koti Rupa Manohara Prati Ange Nirupama Lavanya Sundara Ajanu Lambita Bhuja Kamala Nayan. Hare Krishna, this is so beautiful. Ajanu Lambita Bhuja Kamala Nayana Adhare Tambula Divya Vasa Paridhana. Let this be our meditation, my dear friends, tonight. Listen. Jiniya Kandarpa Koti. Jiniya means to defeat. The beauty of Nimai Vishwambhara as the husband of Lakshmi Priya Devi, it defeated the beauty of crores, millions and millions. I think 10 million is 1 crore. millions and millions of cupids. Cupid is most beautiful, Kamadev, Kandarpa. So Jiniya Kandarpa Koti Rupa Manohar Manohara. Krishna is Manohar. Our Nimai is Manohar. Nimai Vishwambhara Manahara. He steals our mind with his beauty. Jiniya Kandarpa Koti Rupa Manohara Prati Ange Nirupama Lavanya Sundara. Each of his limbs, Prati Ange, Anga means limbs, each of his limbs, Nirupama, Lavanya Sundara. It is Nirupama. Upama means to give comparison. Incomparable. Nirupama means incomparable. Nirupama and Lavanya Sundara. Incomparably, charmingly beautiful. Please visualize this. Our Nimai, he is around 15, 16 years old. And he has just gotten married to Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi. Our Nimai Pandit is 16 years old. And each and every limb of Nimai's body, his golden body, effulgent body, beautiful body, is Lavanya Sundara. Nimai's fingers, his fingertips, soft, his nails, effulgent. His limbs are very slender and very beautiful, perfectly formed. Perfectly formed. The most beautiful Cupid cannot compare. Millions of Cupids cannot compare. Nirupam, there is no upama, there is no example, there is no comparison. The beauty of Nimai is incomparable, incomparably charming, incomparably beautiful Nimai. His eyes, his eyelashes, his eyebrows. Meditating on the eyebrows of Nimai Pandit, you will never be tormented by the bow of Cupid. Eyebrows, if you meditate on Nimai, not this, I don't even have eyebrows, but the eyebrows of Nimai, the beautiful bow-like eyebrows of Nimai. A devotee who meditates on the eyebrows of Krishna or Nimai, the arrows shot from the bow, the flower arrows shot from the bow of Cupid will never torment, will never pierce the heart of a devotee who meditates on the beautiful eyebrows of Nimai. His ears, Sukarna Ratana Kundalam, his beautiful hair. Nimai's hair is curly, but it is not thick and rough curly. Very soft hair. Nimai's hair is black, lustrous, shiny, but they are very soft, even though they are very curly, very soft hair. His lips are so beautiful, pinkish red like the bimba fruit. His teeth are like rows of jasmine buds, pure white. His voice is so attractive, so charming. His neck is like the very handsome, like the conch shell. His chest and shoulders are broad. His waist is very narrow. His navel is beautiful and deep like a lotus. All his limbs are Nirupama, Lavanya, Sundara. Incomparably charming and beautiful. Jiniya Kandarpa Koti Rupa Manohara Prati Ange Nirupama Lavanya Sundara. Jiniya Kandarpa Koti Rupa Manohara Prati Ange Nirupama Lavanya Sundara. Ajanulambita Bhuja Kamala Nayana Dhare Tambula Divya Vasa Paridhana. Ajanulambita Bhuja. His arms, Nimai Vishwambar's arms, extend down to his knees. Very beautiful. And Kamala Nayana, lotus eyes. His eyes are like the petals of a lotus. Adhare Tambula Divya. He chews very beautiful pan. Very tasty, fragrant pan he's chewing. And Vasa Paridhan. And his clothes, Vas means clothes. His clothes are very beautiful. Divya Vasa Paridhan. His clothes are very beautiful. Divya. Again, let's sing this. Everybody understood the meaning? Muktasanga Prabhu? All good? Yeah. Jiniya kandarpa koti rupa manohara prati ange nirupama lavanya sundara ajanulambita bhuja kamala nayana adhare tambula divya vasa paridhana. Please meditate on the form of your Gaur Nitai deities. Please. Gaur Nitai deities. Your Nitai Sachinandan. Jiniya kandarpa koti rupa manohara prati ange nirupama lavanya sundara ajanulambita bhuja kamala nayana adhare tambula divya vasa paridhana. Very beautiful. Sarvadaya parihasa murti vidya bale sahasra paduya sange jabe prabhu chale. Jabe prabhu chale. As our Nimai Vishwambhar would walk with Sahasra Paduya Sange. Paduya means students, जो पढ़ाई करते हैं. Sahasra Paduya Sange. With thousands of his students, when Yabe Prabhu Chale, when he would walk, Sarvadaya Parihasa Murti Vidya Bale. By the strength of his knowledge, Vidya Bale, by the strength of his knowledge, he enchanted and entertained everyone with his sharp wit. Parihas, with his sharp wit. He's very jovial, very humorous also. Nimai, he has got a very good sense of humor. Sarvanavadvipe bhrame tribhuvanapati pustakera rupe kare priya saraswati. Aha. His wife is Lakshmi Devi and in his hand he is carrying Saraswati in the form of books. Just see. Sarvanavadvipe bhrame tribhuvanapati. Shri Nimai Vishwambhar, who is Tribhuvanpati, who is the Lord and Master of the three worlds. Sarva Navadvipa Bhrame. He walks along all over Navadvip. Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari Mayapura Chandra Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari Sarva Navadvipe Bhrame Tribhuvanapati. Sarva Navadvipe Bhrame Tribhuvanapati. In Navadvip, our Nimai is walking everywhere with his thousands of students. Sahasra Paduya Sange. And what he's doing? Pustakera Rupe Kare Priya Saraswati. In the form of Pustak, in the form of book, he is holding his beloved Saraswati. Sarva Navadvipe Bhrame Tribhuvanapati Pustakera Rupe Kare Priya Saraswati Navadvipe Hena Nahi Panditera Naam Ye Asiya Bhuji Beka Prabhura Vyakhyan. There was no scholar throughout Navadvip who could understand the explanations of Nimai. They could not even understand. Forget defeating and arguing. They could not even understand the explanations given by Nimai Pandit. Such a Prakhand Pandit, such a extraordinary intelligent, knowledgeable person he was, Nimai Pandit. Sabhe eka Ganga Dasa Maha Bhagyavan Jarathai Prabhu Kare Vidyara Adan. The Lord discussed his explanations only with his teacher, Ganga Das Pandit. No one else could understand Nimai's explanation. Sakala samsari dekhi bole dhanya dhanya enandana jahara tahara kona dainya. All the materialistic people said the parents of this boy, Nimai Vishwambhar, are certainly glorious. What can they be lacking? They are dhanya, dhanya, glorious, glorious. Such an intelligent boy. Yate ka prakriti dekhe madana samana pashandi dekhaye jena yama vidyamana. All the ladies, they considered Nimai to be attractive like Cupid. Madana samana, like Madana, Kandarpa. And the atheists considered him to be death personified. Pashandi dekhai jana yama vidyamana. They would consider Nimai as Yamraj. Why? Because he was so attractive, and these were atheistic people. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in the purport, in this material world, the men are the enjoyers. The men think that they are enjoyers, and the women are the objects of enjoyment. In other words, the women are enjoyed by the men, and the men are enjoyed by the women. An enjoyer enjoys his object of enjoyment with his senses. An enjoyer enjoys the object of his enjoyment with his senses. Both the male and female enjoy material objects through their jnanendriyas, or knowledge acquiring senses: eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and skin. Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. These 5 jnanendriyas. Or through the knowledge acquiring senses, the karmendriyas: hands, legs, speech, genitals, and anus. We enjoy things in this world. Gaura Sundar is directly Lord Krishna, therefore he is the abode of all beauty, surpassing millions of cupids. Kandarbha Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobhat Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Gaura Sundar is never an object of enjoyment for mundane women. This is the point. Lord Gaura Sundar is never an object of enjoyment for mundane women. That is why he cannot be the object of worship for Gauranagaris. Gauranagaris are a type of Upasampradaya, and they have love for Gauranga Mahaprabhu as their husband. They think they are ladies of Nadia, and their hero, their husband, is Gauranga. So they are called Gauranga Nagaris. So no. That is the opposite Siddhanta. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, when a living entity becomes self-realized, the Madan Mohan form of Gaura Sundar manifests within his heart. Although the conditioned souls who identify themselves as women may consider Gaura Sundar an object of enjoyment, but Gaurahari does not fulfill their prayers. So this is to be understood. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving this Siddhanta. That is why the followers of Gaurahari cannot accept him as Nagara. Nagara means the enjoyer of women. Krishna is like that, but not Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Bhakta Bhav. Lord Gaura Sundar never demonstrated that he was under the control of any material conditions in his pastimes. But even if someone out of great misfortune forgets that he is the eternal servant of Gaura Sundar and thinks him to be the object of service, Shri Gaura Sundar still awakens his service attitude towards Gaur Krishna by removing such evil propensities. So Mahaprabhu will purify us, but we should not consider him to be our husband. He's our Acharya, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Or we can worship him as the Yuga Avatar, as Krishna. But better still is to consider Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu as Krishna who has come in the mood of Srimati Radharani to taste the sweetness of Shri Radha's love. Radha Bhava Diti Solitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He is Krishna with Radha Bhava and with the complexion and mood of Radharani. Pandita Sakala Dekhe Yena Brihaspati Ei Mata Dekhe Sabbe Jarajena Mati. All the learned scholars considered Nimai Pandit to be equal to Brihaspati. Because in their conception, Brihaspati is as knowledgeable as it gets. Right? Brihaspati. Ei Mate Dekhe Sabbe Jarajena Mati. In this way, everyone appreciated Nimai Vishwambhar according to their capacity, their mentality. Dekhi Vishwambhara Rupa Sakala Vaishnava Harisha Vishada Hai Mane Bhave Sabha. Since Vishwambhar's attractive form, seeing the attractive form of Nimai Vishwambhar, the Vaishnavas felt both jubilation and lamentation. Why lamentation? Jubilation because he reminded them of Krishna. He was so beautiful. But why lamentation? Hena Divya Sharire Nahe Krishna Ras Kikari Be Vidyaya Aive Kalavash Mohita Vaishnava Sabha Prabhu Ramayaya Dekhiya O Tabu Keha Dekhite Na Paya. The Vaishnavas thought, when they saw Nimai, they thought, although this Nimai has such a divine body, so beautiful, he has no attraction for Krishna. What good is his education? Vidya, Vilas. What good is his mundane education if he simply wastes all of his time discussing Nyaya and Vyakaran and all those things? All the Vaishnavas were bewildered by the Mohita Vaishnava Sabha Prabhura Mayaya, by Krishna's internal potency, Yoga Maya. They were bewildered by Yoga Maya. And so even though they saw Shri Nimai Vishwambhar, they could not understand that he is their Ishtadev, he is their worshipable Krishna. So the Vaishnavas saw Nimai married to Lakshmi Priya Devi, Nimai performing all his education pastimes, his Vidya Vilas, but they could not understand that he is Krishna. Sakshate o Prabhu dekhi keha bole ki karya gonao kala tumi vidya bole. Although they directly saw Nimai Vishwambhar, some of them said, why do you waste your time in the fruitless pursuit of knowledge? The Vaishnavas would challenge Nimai. Why are you always discussing all this grammar and logic and nyaya and all these things? This is jada jnana. This is mundane knowledge. Shuniya hasena Prabhu seva ke ravakya. Prabhu bole tomara shikhao mora bhagya. The Lord will simply smile at his own servants because the Vaishnavas are his servants, but they are not recognizing that he is their Bhagwan. So Shuniya hasena Prabhu seva kera vakya. Seva kera vakya. They are his sevaks, they are his devotees, they are his servants. Hearing their words, he is Shuniya hasena Prabhu. He would smile. And what would he say? Tomara shikhao mora bhagya. If you instruct me, I will be very fortunate. Okay, instruct me then. You say that I am wasting my time with all this education. So you instruct me, what should I do? You instruct me. Henamate Prabhu gonaye na vidyarase sevaka chinite nare anyajana kishe. As the Lord passed his time in Navadvip, in his Vidya Vilas pastime, Vidyaras pastimes, his servants could not recognize him. So what to speak of others? Even the Vaishnavas could not recognize him as Bhagwan. What to speak of others? Chaturdik haite loka Navadvipe jaye, Navadvipe padile se Vidyaras paye. People from all over India came to Navadvip to study in Navadvip because it was a high seat of learning. And if one studied in Navadvip, he got a taste for education. Vidya rasa paye. They would get Vidya ras. Chati grama nivasi o aneka tathaye padena Vaishnava sabara hena gangaye. Many Vaishnavas came from Chhattagram to live on the bank of Ganga and study in Navadvip. Sabai janmiya chena prabhura ajnaye, sabai virakta Krishna bhakta sarvathaye. They were all renounced devotees of Krishna and they had taken birth by the order of Krishna. All these residents of Chattagram. Sabai virakta Krishna bhakta sarvatha. They were all pure devotees of Krishna. They were virakta. Anyonne mili sabe padiya shuniya karena govinda charcha nibrite vasiya. After school hours, these residents of Vaishnavas of Chattagram, they regularly met together in a solitary place. Nibrita, solitary place. And what would they do? Karena Govinda Charcha. They would discuss topics of Krishna. Not receiving any encouragement, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in the purport, not receiving any encouragement for worshipping Krishna from Sri Gaura Sundar, the Vaishnavas of that time cultivated Krishna consciousness in seclusion. So these residents of Chattagram came to Navadvip to taste Vidyaras, to get real education from Nimai. They are devotees of Nimai, but they don't know that Nimai is their Ishtadev. Just see. They are Vaishnavas. And because Nimai was not talking about Krishna, they would meet separately after school in a secluded place and do Govinda Charcha. Machitta maggata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shimam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Lord Krishna says, this is what devotees do. They come together and they talk about me, chant my name, discuss my glories, my pastimes. So, anyonne mili sabe padiya shuniya karena Govinda charcha nibrite vasiya. Not receiving any encouragement for worshipping Lord Krishna from Sri Gaura Sundar, the Vaishnavas of that time cultivated Krishna consciousness nibrite, in seclusion. Wherever there is no direct manifestation of the Supreme Lord or his dear devotee, Nirjan Bhajan or solitary worship of the Lord is appropriate. Important point. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, when we don't have devotee association, we don't have sadhu sangha, better to remain alone. But we should not be in asat sangha. Asat sangha tyag ei Vaishnava achar. Otherwise, it is prescribed that one should engage in Hari Kirtan only under the guidance of the Supreme Lord or his devotees. Next verse. Sarva Vaishnavera Priya Mukunda Ekanta Mukundera Gane Drave Sakala Mahanta. Very beautiful verse. Sarva Vaishnavera Priya Mukunda Ekanta. There was one devotee who was very dear to all the Vaishnavas. His name is Mukunda. Mukunda Datta. What was his quality? Mukundera Gane Drave Sakala Mahanta. All the great devotees, their hearts would melt. Hridaya Drave. Their hearts would melt. Mukundera Gane. When Mukunda would sing. Those who are detached from material enjoyment and those who are engaged in worshipping Krishna are called Mahantas or Vaishnavas. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains. On hearing Mukunda Datta singing about the pastimes of Lord Hari, the hearts of such Mahantas, great souls, melted. Vikala haile asi Bhāgavata gan Advaita sabhaye sabe haina milan. In the afternoon, all the devotees met in the house of Advaita Acharya. After completing their day's work, the devotees gathered in the afternoons at the house of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu in Sri Mayapur. Since Sri Gaura Sundar had not yet manifested his pastimes as the shelter of the devotees, Sri Advaita Prabhu was the shelter of all Vaishnavas. So we should always remain under shelter, isn't it? Always remain under shelter of senior devotees. Ei matra mukunda gayena Krishna geet, hena nahi jani ke ba padhe kon bhi. As soon as Mukunda would begin singing about Krishna, everyone there fell to the ground in ecstatic love. After hearing Mukunda sing about Krishna, all the listeners became overwhelmed with love of Krishna and fell on the ground here and there. This was the power of Mukunda Datta. Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Ghosha Ādi Gadādhara. They are singing our Aarti. They are all singers. Vasudev Ghosh, Mukunda Datta. Keha kande, keha hase, keha nritya kare, gada gadi jai, keha vastra na sambhare. As Mukunda led this beautiful singing of Krishna's qualities and pastimes and Krishna's name, some of them cried, some of them laughed, some of them danced. The clothes of some devotees scattered as they rolled on the ground in ecstasy. Aha. This is what happens to devotees. Keha kande, some cried. Keha hase, some laughed. Keha nritya kare, some danced. Gada gadi jai keha vastrana sambhare. And as they rolled, as they rolled on the ground, their clothes would get scattered. Hunkara karaya keha malshata mare. Keha giya mukundera dui pae dhare. Some roared as they challenged the agents of Maya. A devotee sometimes in great enthusiasm, feeling ecstasy, may challenge Maya. And someone else caught hold of Mukunda's feet. Ei mata uthaye Paramananda Sukha, na jane Vaishnava Saba Arakona Dukha. In this way, the Vaishnavas enjoyed great ecstasy and forgot all forms of distress. Devotees forgot all forms of distress. Because they were engaged in Hari Katha, Hari Kirtan in this way. So we'll stop here at verse number 27. Ei mata utheya Paramananda Sukha, na jane Vaishnava Saba Arakona Dukha. In this way, they forgot all distress and they enjoyed together in discussing the glories of Krishna and singing the names of Krishna together. This is the life of devotees. And very soon, our Nimai is going to meet Shri, his Guru Maharaj. And he will take initiation and start the Nam Sankirtan movement. So this is going to be very, very special in this chapter. Can't wait to read about the divine meeting of Shri Nimai Pandit with Shri Ishwar Puri Maharaj. And then he will inaugurate the Nam Sankirtan movement. So that is coming up later in this chapter. So thank you very much, devotees, for tolerating me and giving your kind association and time. If there are any questions, we can take some questions. You can raise your hand. Vinit Prabhu, please go ahead. 1 second. Yes, you can unmute now. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Dandavad Pranam.
Prabhuji, the verse you were meditating on, describing the features of the Lord, was very beautiful. And I have this question regarding this idea. I read in one Amritavani section of one Amritavani, I think it's a periodical that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to release, that the Lord's name reveals the guna, which reveals the rupa, which eventually reveals the lila. And so the name reveals it. Artificially trying to kind of get it is not going to help. And you have also mentioned repeatedly that this is a descending process, not so much that I can try and remember. Whenever I try to remember, especially when there is such descriptions, I'm usually taking the features of some person I've seen in this world and putting them together. I've seen someone with beautiful eyes, someone with a beautiful face, and then just combining all of them, and that makes my vision of Krishna or Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And I feel that that is a bit of sahajism, so I don't know how to approach Smaranam at my contaminated level.
So this is wrong. One should not superimpose the features of ordinary mortals that we have seen. In the Sri Vaishnava tradition, there is a story of Dhanurdas. He was a wrestler and he had a female friend, and she had very beautiful eyes, and he was always looking at her beautiful eyes. And Shripad Ramanujacharya told him, Dhanurdas, come with me. I will show you the eyes of Lord Ranganath. And when Dhanurdas saw the beautiful eyes of Lord Ranganath, he and his female friend, both of them, their hearts were purified. They got married so that they can live honorably as honest grahastas. But both of them were such exalted pure devotees. Why? Because they were attracted now, not by each other's eyes, which are just balls of flesh and water. What is there in the eyes? Aqueous humor, vitreous humor, lens, retina, blood. That's all there is in the eyes. Cornea, conjunctiva, sclera. Nothing. No, our eyes are not the object of meditation. Kamala Lochana. But we have to meditate on the beautiful eyes of Krishna, on the beautiful eyes of Srimati Radharani. So how do we do that? Not by comparing them to eyes of some mere mortals, mere ordinary human beings that we have seen. We should meditate on the eyes of the beautiful deities. Why not think about the beautiful eyes of Radharaman? Why not think about the beautiful eyes of Sham Sundar or Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Vrindavan Nath? There are so many beautiful deities. Why not meditate on their eyes? Radha Gopinath. Meditate on the beautiful chest of Gopinathji, the beautiful lotus feet of Madan Mohan, the beautiful face of Govinda Dev. All three, the beautiful face of Govinda Dev, the beautiful broad chest of Gopinath, and the beautiful lotus feet of Madan Mohan have come together in the form of our beloved Radharamanji, Radharaman Lal. So why not meditate on the form of Radharaman? So these descriptions that are given in the Shastra about the physical beauty, physical features of Krishna, to aid our meditation, we should think of deities. Because right now we are not purified, and in our meditation, Krishna is agochar. Krishna cannot be caught with our meditation right now because our mind is not pure. So we should take shelter of the deities who are Krishna, Archa Vigraha, Shri Vigraha, and we should meditate on the form of Krishna as he has made himself visible to us in the form of deity. Is that okay, Vinit Prabhu? But meditation we must do. If we don't meditate on the form of Krishna, then we will meditate on the so-called attractive forms of this material world. So we must develop a higher taste and meditate on Krishna. And so many beautiful deities are there. Radha Madan Mohan are there. Just meditate on them. Is that okay, Vinit Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Without taking time, I just wanted to mention that every time I go before the deity, one thing I've come to realize is I cannot capture them in my memory. Try so hard to like remember how they are, their features, but I cannot. It's so hard. 2 minutes after leaving the temple hall, I'd have forgotten even what is the color of the dhoti of Krishna. Um, and it seems like I, I can't keep them in my chitta. I was wondering if you can advise on that.
I like to tell this story. One of my very favorite stories. I have told this story many times. I heard this story from my Guru Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He was telling that once there was some festival in Kolkata in the evening, and Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu were invited there. And Srila Guru Maharaj also was there. So Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu performed the morning seva to Ashtasakhi and Radha Madhav in the morning in the Mayapur Chandrodaya temple. And then after finishing their morning puja and shringar and everything, after serving Radha Madhav Ashtasakhis, they got into a car and they came to Kolkata for the program. And later that night, there was a big program and many devotees from Navadvip had come. Many devotees from Mayapur had come to Kolkata for the program. So some devotees had got some Mahaprasad from Navadvip, from Mayapur temple to Kolkata. And Kirtan was going on. There were hundreds of devotees in Kolkata in that program. And Srila Jananivas Prabhu, Pankajangri Prabhu were sitting and they were pointing at one devotee and they were talking to each other something. So Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj asked them, what were you discussing? And Jananivas Prabhu said, you see that devotee there dancing, wearing that garland? Maharaj said, yes. Said, that is the morning garland offered to Champaklata Sakhi. Such was their absorption, because the garlands keep changing, right, in Mayapur. So some devotee must have received the Mahaprasadi garland of Champaklata Sakhi. He came to Kolkata and evening also he was wearing that garland. Seeing that garland in a crowd of hundreds of people, Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu immediately said, that is the garland of Champaklata Sakhi. There are Ashtasakhis, there is Radharani, there is Madhav, and there are so many other deities, but they could recognize. This is absorption. This is absorption. Even in the material world, when a child is kidnapped, immediately the parents give description. Today the child was wearing a blue jeans, this shirt, and immediately there is an amber alert that this child has been lost. Parents are also remembering their child because there is love. It's a question of love. So if there is love, we will pay attention to the details. We will remember. Therefore, we have to keep taking darshan. While chanting, we have to look at the lotus feet of Radharaman. We have to look at the beautiful face of Radharaman. We have to realize that beautiful smile on the face of Radharaman. He has a very beautiful, swabhavik, natural smile. And that smile becomes broader and broader as you meditate on Radharaman. His beautiful little soft hands. So we must have our Ishtadev and we must meditate on the form of Ishtadev. If as soon as we leave the temple, we are forgetting the Lord, we are forgetting the form of the Lord, we are not able to remember. If death comes, how will we remember Krishna? How will we remember? We should always remember. Tomorrow is the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His Ishtadev were Shri Gandharvika Giridhari, Radha and Krishna. And everywhere he would go, he would meditate on Gandharvika Giridhari. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari, Radhe. Srila Saraswati Pranadhana He. Don't we sing? All our acharyas have had their Ishtadev. Jai Radha Ras Bihari, Radha Ras Bihari Radhe. Srila Prabhupada Pranadhana He. Jai Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe. Srila Madhu Pandit Pranadhana He. Radha Govinda Dev, Rupa Goswami, Radha Damodar, Jiva Goswami, Radha Madan Mohan, Sanatan Goswami. All our acharyas, they have their Ishtadev. Radha Gokulananda, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Radha Madhav, Sri Jayadev Goswami. So we must have our Ishtadev and we must meditate, carry the photo. Now it is so simple with iPhone, every day we get darshan. We should take darshan. And when we are chanting, we should keep looking at the form of Krishna, our favorite deities. Srila Prabhupada has established 108 temples. And now there are more than 600 temples. And there are so many other temples also in the world. There is Bake Bihari, there is Radha Vallabh, so many other temples are there. So we should meditate. We should take darshan. That is the purpose of taking darshan. So then after taking darshan, we carry them in our heart. If forgetfulness of the form of the deity is happening as we leave the temple, then we should practice remembering. How we can remember the eyes of someone, some human being who is beautiful? Then why we cannot remember Radha Madan Mohan, our Sambandha Vigraha? Why we cannot remember? We must remember. Therefore, we must practice. It comes with practice. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
And we should practice. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha kriyate. Abhyas karna hai. Smaran karne ka. We have to practice remembering Krishna. And vairagya. We should practice forgetting the material objects. Hollywood, Bollywood, these images should not come. But we should remember our Ishtadev, Radha Sham Sundar, Lalita Vishakha Radha Gopinath, like that. Radha Raman should practice. Divya Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I wanted to ask if Lakshmi Priya Devi, if she is Sita Devi, then how do we understand her death?
How do we her passing away? She is Lakshmi Devi. So it is said that Lakshmi Priya Devi left her body left this world because of intense separation from Nimai Vishwambhar. When Nimai Vishwambhar went to Bangladesh to teach, for a few months he was not there. And in the Virha Agni, in the fire of separation, she intensely absorbed herself in meditation on her Lord Nimai and immediately went back to the spiritual world to be reunited with him. She is an incarnation of Lakshmi Devi. So like that. So it is very divine that she in complete absorption, she got reunited with her Lord in the spiritual world. When Krishna and Radharani, they come in this material world, they perform this human-like pastime. It is called Naravat Leela. Even Prabhu Ramchandra, he also disappeared from this world by entering the Sharayu river. Lord Krishna also left behind a material body when Jara the hunter shot the arrow in his lotus foot. So this is Naravat Leela, human-like pastimes they are performing. Krishna is completely independent. So this pastime was performed, that Lakshmi Priya Devi left her body. So it's not like there is actual death. They just wind up their activities in this material world and they continue their eternal Leela, Aprakat Leela in the spiritual world, and they leave behind a material body for the sake of the Leela. For the sake of the Leela. Krishna used to pass stool and urine. Krishna is Bhagwan. He used to pass stool and urine. So one may think, okay, so that means Krishna has a liver, Krishna has small intestine, Krishna has large intestine, Krishna has a rectum, Krishna has a stomach, esophagus. No, Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. But for the sake of Leela, agar stool urine pass nahi karenge to Leela ekdam atpati lagegi na. Kaise kya hai, kaise hai ye, kaise balak hai? How Yashoda Maiya will feel that he is the son, Gopal is the son, if he doesn't pass stool and urine. So Krishna, it's mentioned in our Shastra, he would go to the neighbor's house and if they would hide the butter pots high up and Krishna could not access, out of spite, out of anger, Krishna would pass stool and urine in the house of the neighbors and come. But that stool and urine also was fragrant for 20 miles all around. That is Krishna's stool and urine. So this is Naravat Leela, human-like activity. So they may show Krishna, just like they are born, Krishna is born. Krishna also manifested his pastime at Prabha Kshetra of disappearing from this world. So this is all Leela. Is that okay, Divya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So if there are no more questions, we can stop here. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare
There's
Krishna.
some chat messages, Prabhu. Sorry.
Chat messages there? Okay, 1 second. Let me see. So, Sugandha Mataji. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 1.4 Anarpita Charim Chirat verse talks about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to give us mellow of conjugal love. Does this mean anyone who connects to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement would develop Gopi Bhav and also do Manjaris have conjugal rasa, or is it just Dasya ras? So 2 questions. First one is no, not necessarily that all the devotees who come in contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are going to develop Manjari Bhav. Not necessary. Because even Shrivas Thakur, he is an incarnation of Narad Muni. He was a very close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But his Ishtadev were Lakshmi Narayan, because he is Narad Muni. Narayan. And Murari Gupta, he is Hanumanji. His Ishtadev was Sitaram. So Mahaprabhu is Parama Karuna Pahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Saba Avatara Sarashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda. They are Sarva Avatara Sar. Sarva Avatara Sar. All the avatars are there in Gaur Nitai. So in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan movement, devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like Kalpataru. He will give whatever you want. If someone wants Vaikuntha, they will get Vaikuntha. Someone wants Ayodhya like Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami's brother, Sri Vallabh, Anupam. He went to Ayodhya Dham. He was a Ram Bhakta. Like that. So Mahaprabhu also in South India, he went to take prasad in the house of a devotee who was a Ram Bhakta, meditating, completely absorbed in meditating on the Vanvas Leela of Sita Ram Lakshman. Isn't it? That story is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So any devotee has any particular bhav can take shelter of Mahaprabhu, and that bhav will be nourished. Because Mahaprabhu, all the incarnations are there within Mahaprabhu. Even Varahadev, even Narsimhadev, there. Prahlad Maharaj also came as Vasudeva Datta. So his Ishtadev is Narsimha Bhagwan. So like that. Everyone can get their desires fulfilled, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his unique feature is to give Manjari Bhav, to give Rupanuga, Raganuga, Vraj Bhakti. That is the unique feature that Mahaprabhu, that is the highest thing that Mahaprabhu has come to give. And that is what is mentioned in this verse. Anarpita Charim Chirat Karune. This is something that was not offered before, unique. And that is Manjari Bhav. That is Rupanuga, Raganuga Bhakti. That is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. Mahaprabhu can give everything. But the highest thing, the best thing that he has is Gopi Bhav. And that is what he is giving to his most confidential associates. Gopi Bhava Rasamrita Abdilahari Kallola Magno Muhur Vande Rupa Sanatana Rakyuga Shri Jiva Gopalaka. The 6 Goswamis have that Gopi Bhav. So that is the highest. But anything he can give. He is Sarva Avatara Sar Shiromani. Okay. Second question. Also, do Manjaris have conjugal rasa, or is it just Dasya ras? The Manjaris, their greatest pleasure is in seeing Radha and Krishna together, enjoying their Nitya Leela. So they don't want to directly enjoy with Krishna. They don't want to directly enjoy with Krishna like Chandravali would do. No. Manjaris are kinkaris. They are maid servants of Srimati Radharani. And they get more pleasure serving Radharani than a gopi would get enjoying with Krishna. Because we are reading in the 4th chapter of Adi Lila how Krishna gets greatest pleasure in the presence of Radharani, in the company of Radharani. So Manjaris who are directly serving Radharani, when they see their Shri Radha, their very own Shri Radha, enjoying so much with Krishna and Krishna enjoying so much, seeing their enjoyment, their bliss increases thousands of times more. So Manjaris don't want, to answer a question, Manjaris don't want to directly enjoy with Krishna, but they have Radha Dasyam. Their bhav is that of Radha Dasyam. Is that okay, Sugandha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think that's it. Muktasanga Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yes,
Srila
thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Radhe
very
Radhe.
much.
Thank you very much,
Radhe
Prabhuji. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Hare